This video went up early for YouTube channel members. So today's video has nothing to do with video games or pro wrestling. So I'm sure like none of you guys want to watch this, but it is a topic that's been popping up more and more. That is something I feel like I can talk about a little bit and maybe share a little bit of insight as far as how to compare it to sort of the video game sphere. Because right now, if you are an automotive YouTube fan, you would notice that a lot of people are starting to leave the larger conglomerate YouTube automotive channels and starting their own thing or just disappearing from the platform in general. Now, I'm someone who loves cars. I've always loved cars. I love my two cars. They do two different things and I enjoy them thoroughly for that. And I'm not really someone who watches a lot of gaming content on YouTube because it's kind of like watching your work after work, and I don't know, it's just not super enjoyable to me if it's something that I plan on talking about. But with car stuff, like I don't ever plan on really making a car channel. I obviously did some car vlogs when I bought that lovely 190e Cosworth that just ended up being a bunch of headaches, but I enjoy this sort of stuff. Right now, my favorite automotive channels are stuff like Collector Car Feed. I'll have a link to them in the description box down below. Fair warning, very early 2000s high school humor. Some of the words you can't really say nowadays, but they say them anyways. Them boys are going to get in trouble. But I thoroughly enjoy that channel a lot. But I also like some of the more high production channels, stuff like Donut Media. Donut Media is a channel I discovered probably 3 or so years ago, and I've really enjoyed their content. Yes, some of the stuff is kind of wonky or whatever, but I enjoyed the content, and more so I kind of enjoyed the personalities there. People like Zach and Jeremiah and stuff like that. You know, it really was an interesting channel because you could learn something, but it was still sort of entertaining at the same time. Of course, you had people like James on there as well. Just very good stuff. And recently, Zach and Jeremiah announced that they are leaving Donut and now they have their own channel called Big Time. And when you watch kind of the first 2 episodes of Big Time, it definitely feels kind of like older Donut episodes. And you know, people are wondering, well, why did they leave? There's this other car channel. It was a bunch of British people. I can't think of their names. I'm subscribed to their new channel though. But 2 of the dudes, the 2 more entertaining dudes on this British car channel, they kind of did like sort of pseudo donut, but also like Top Gear style stuff, like car challenges and stuff. They also left. I'll overlay their channel here so that you guys can check them out. But they left and they started their own thing. So why are people leaving these larger conglomerations and starting their own thing? And the simple answer is, I mean, there's been a million explanations. Zach and Jeremiah did a video kind of talking about it. Some old employees of Donut also talked about it as well. But like I said, I could kind of talk about this from a video game perspective is these companies come in and buy up the property. They buy the brand. They buy everything tied into the brand. And the people that are buying these brands, they're not automotive enthusiasts. They're money enthusiasts. And it's the same thing with the video game world. Now, obviously, a lot of video game companies end up kind of buying each other, but who's at the top of that chain that is actually providing the money? And, you know, that's where a lot of people get this sort of disconnect because a lot of people who own video game websites, they don't really know shit about video games. A lot of people that own video game YouTube channels, they don't know shit about video games. A lot of people that own YouTube car channels and YouTube car brands, they don't know a lot about cars. So what they end up seeing is ways to cut corners, ways to sort of maximize, you know, views at the sake of the content, at the sake of what got the channel to where it is in the first place. And when you start to do that and you start to do things like, you know, when it comes to money, when you get bought out, you would think that the talent involved would reap some of the rewards of that because they're the ones who made the brand attractive. They're the ones who drove people to that channel. But often, more times than not, like you don't see that. Everything just kind of stays status quo, and the people at the top who may have previously owned the brand or the companies, they're the ones who benefit because they're the ones who cashed out. And now these new people come in and they're telling you essentially like what you need to do and what your ideas need to be, and, you know, vetoing something that you might have had a really good idea of, something that you thought would be really popular on the channel. And there's no real sort of way to sort of circumvent that, because it's either their way or no way. You know, they're the ones that are, you know, looking at the books. They're the ones who are trying to maximize their dollar to get the most on their investment. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, you know, corporate greed, blah, blah, blah. To me, it's more so of just a disconnect. You know, if I were to buy something for a very large sum of money that's making money, I obviously want it to make more money so that it makes me money in return. So I kind of understand that aspect, but that disconnect is definitely there, because I've experienced it. When I was with Nintendo Enthusiast, there was lots of things happening in the back end, and you hear all of these sort of things and, you know, all these big money deals that are supposedly taking place. And I'm working for, it wasn't enough to live off of, let's just say that, you know, and I'm busting my ass for that website, and I'm like, okay, you know, we made this attractive enough to where somebody wants to come in and potentially buy it and, you know, do something with it. The whole Enthusiast brands and stuff. What's in it for me? What do I get out of this? And there was talks about, you know, shareholder stock funds and stuff like that, but I never saw anything. And that was around the time that I ended up actually leaving the website. And it wasn't necessarily because of that, but maybe subconsciously, like, that was one of the reasons why, when I looked at what I was doing with RGT and, you know, creating this brand of itself, you know, I thought I could do something more. I thought I could maximize my opportunities and really, I mean, make money for me instead of making money for a suit. And you could kind of see how those parallels are. At some point in time, you're either going to have to pay people more if they see, you know, how this channel is growing. Like if you're getting millions of views on every single video, like I get it. There's budgets and stuff like that. But you would think as the brand grows and as, you know, Donut's got clothing and stuff like that, and they're in Zoomies now, like you would think with the brand growing that people would also grow in terms of their money. And what you're seeing on Donut right now is kind of the people that decided to stick around. And now they're catching, I don't think it's fair, but they're starting to catch heat because they're like, oh, well, these guys said that you guys are getting screwed. Why did you stick around? And, you know, everyone is in a different spot in life. Everyone is doing things differently. People have different priorities and things that they need to worry about in their lives. Maybe Zach and Jeremiah, you know, maybe they're good with money, or maybe they have, you know, a plan and stuff like that. And other people who decided to stay with Donut and haven't left yet or don't plan on leaving, you know, maybe they need it for that stability. Like, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to do it, but that's what happens when Big Brother comes in and this big entity comes in and starts to dip their hands into it, instead of just being like, hey, you know what? Here's some money, make me some money, you know, do what you need to do, make me some money. You guys are the creative aspect. You start to see the figureheads start to get a little bit more hands-on. And you never really want to see that. Like, think of probably your job. If you're kind of on the lower rung of a job, does upper management see things the way you see things? Do they understand things the way you understand things? When I worked at GameStop, my district manager didn't know shit about dick about video games. He didn't know anything. I was the one who knew it. My coworkers were the people who knew it. Those are the reasons why the store was successful. But nobody cared. Nobody cared. It's all about pre-orders and push this and this, that, or the other. Like, corporate world's hell, man. It's something I never want to have to go back to. I never have to want to go back to it. And that's why I try to invest money and stuff. I never want to make money for somebody else other than myself, like, ever again. And I've been blessed. I should say, you know, I've been blessed and very, very lucky to be able to do this full time, because I feel like a lot of people who do work that standard 9 to 5, like, they're kind of stuck in a rut. And I hope one day that you're, you know, the wind blows in your favor and you're able to get out of it if you want to. But some people like that stability, you know, healthcare and stuff like that. That's something else you need to think about. I'm sure Donut provided healthcare, whereas Zach and Jeremiah now, they don't have any of those benefits. They don't have any of that sort of stuff when it comes to that. And, you know, that weighs a lot on your pocket. So I pretty much, that's pretty much what's going on with a lot of these automotive channels right now, is people are buying up the brands, seeing the dollar sign, seeing the revenue that these channels generate, but they're wanting to maximize that revenue and get more revenue so that they are also successful and they are also making money on their investment at the stake of the employees who made it that way in the first place. You know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side and stuff like that. So those are just my thoughts on it. You know, not really any sort of inside information, just kind of as an outsider looking in. And I'm sure people are going to be like, well, why did you talk about this? Because that's what this channel's about. Whatever I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about on this channel whenever I get a wild hair at my ass. Let me know if you are familiar with any of these channels whatsoever, if this video just completely flew over your head. And as always, guys, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are new to this. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Oh, and members get it first. Later.